Ted Cruz, a huge crowd at Liberty University as he has announced that he will run for president of the United States. He said he would repeal health care, he would repeal Common Core, he would enact tax reform. He talked about Ronald Reagan, he talked about Patrick Henry, he talked about the possibility of the United States of America, rousing crowd. And for many, we saw Karl Rove showed us a board a while back. 18% said that they were not familiar with Ted Cruz, and he begins that journey to make the rest of the country familiar with him. This is his wife, Heidi Cruz, whose parents were missionaries in Africa. She is a graduate of Harvard Business School, a very accomplished woman in her own right, worked for the Bush campaign at one point. Their two small children. He talked about restoring the role of God in America. He said God is not finished with the United States of America yet. Clearly a big crowd, no teleprompter for Ted Cruz. Pretty amazing. He went on through since 10:20, so 40-plus minutes of this without the use of any teleprompter, Bill. And we've seen him do that before at the Republican convention.
When we were in Tampa, we remarked during the Republican convention, he was the only speaker that entire week who lowered the podium and just breezily walked right, stage right, backstage left, and seemed to be without a teleprompter that time as well. Want to bring in Ed Rollins, former campaign manager for Ronald Reagan in 1984. Joe Trippi, former Howard Dean campaign manager. Both are Fox News contributors. Gentlemen, good morning to both of you. He's the first in. Ed, how do you do on Act One?
Extraordinary. He's a fabulous speaker. For most people who had never seen him before, just knew him as a kind of controversial figure for being the architect of the shutdown of government several years ago. This was a magnificent speech to the audience and beyond the audience. So I think to a certain extent, the millions of viewers you have every day, their first impression had to be a very favorable one.
What about you, Joe? As a Democrat, how would you grade Act One?
Oh, it was outstanding. Look, he's smart to go first. I'm one of those who believes on your announcement day, it's your day. And I thought he did a great job, again, reaching out to the audience he's trying to reach out to. And I agree with Ed. Look, if all you know about Ted Cruz is sort of the controversy around him, he did an excellent job. And like with no prompter, look, I just don't think that you can detract from the speech. Now the problem is, did he start too late? And what I mean by that, there are people in this lane already, Huckabee, Santorum, and others who have structures in places like Iowa from previous runs. See, he's playing some catch-up there, but certainly he has the ingredients, I think, to put money together. The way you use social media and texting here at the speech in terms of getting people to I'm assuming, sign up to his candidacy was all very smart and very well laid out.
You'll likely see a lot more from the others, too, when they announce. He's 44 years old, born in Calgary, Canada, grew up in Texas, educated at Princeton, then Harvard Law School as well. Ed, what does he bring to this race?
Well, he is the anti-establishment candidate. George W. Bush is the establishment candidate. I mean, not George W. Bush, but Jeb Bush. And basically, he will be the populist. He will have to compete with Mike Huckabee. He will have to compete with Walker. He will have to compete with Rand Paul. But the interesting thing is we've got four extremely articulate men now running for president, all kind of with religious ties, his father being a minister, Mike Huckabee being a minister, Ron Walker's father being a minister. That evangelical base, which is very important to this party, will be the target for all of them. And, you know, Bush, Christie, others can fight for the establishment wing, but he clearly will run a populist movement, raise money grassroots. No big dollar, I don't think, but he'll be a competitor. He'll be one of the 5 or 6.
Scott Walker, you mean, the governor of Wisconsin?
Yes, that's what I meant.
Joe, what do you believe he brings to this race as a candidate now?
Well, no, look, I think he clearly can gel the evangelical and the Tea Party wing of the Republican Party. It's a question of, one, that vote is going to get split up or fought over by, as Ed said, several other candidates. But secondly, you know, it may get him into the front runner, you know, group of the Republican Party. But in the end, as a Democrat, it's going to take somebody who can bring all elements of the Republican Party together to win the nomination, defeat Hillary Clinton or whoever the Democrats nominate.
Fairly new senator, too, gentlemen.
Yeah,
three years and counting. Quickly, I've got to run.
but he also comes from Texas, and if he can beat Perry in Texas, even very quickly, he gets a lot of delegates. It's early March, and so my sense you can't underestimate that.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Joe. Talk soon.
Sure. Take care.
Right. A lot of people writing in about where Ted Cruz was born. He was born in Calgary, but his mother was born in Delaware.
Exactly.
And what he will tell you is that my mother's an American citizen by birth. Under federal law, that made an American citizen by birth. He put out his birth certificate of his mother 2 years ago, too, to try and clarify any of that up. So a lot of people are wondering about that. But
trying to put that to rest. It's going to be very interesting. And off we go.
Yes,
it feels kind of exciting as things actually start getting underway here, about 10 months from Iowa. And Ted Cruz has thrown his hat in the ring. You're going to hear a lot about it today. We'll see you later. I'll see you at 2 o'clock on The Real Story today.
Right.
Stick around for that, everybody.
Got it. Happening Now starts right now. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Bye.